Hi, and welcome to Prepping Essentials. I can't stress enough the importance of putting aside an emergency food supply, ready for when something might hit the fan. There are lots of potential crisis scenarios, and in recent videos I've talked about a potential food crisis stemming from weather events affecting the food growing regions. I also mentioned in a previous video inflation having an impact on food price, and indeed here in the UK over the last couple of years we've seen numerous media articles on how food prices are going to spike as a result of Brexit. So I wanted to do another short video today as I've been out shopping and I've been adding to my emergency food supplies. So let's take a look. Whenever something hits the fan, it's essential that you have some kind of long-term food storage on hand, enough to tide you over until such time as the situation returns to normal, or you can supplement your food stocks by hunting, scavenging, or growing your own. I've mentioned a lot in previous videos about building up stocks of food. It doesn't need to be too expensive and it doesn't need to be too time consuming. All you need to do is do your weekly shop and add a few items to your basket each time you go. You'll be very surprised at how quickly your food stores begin to build up. Whenever I'm out shopping, I'm always looking out for a bargain. I'm looking for food that's stable on the shelf for long periods and that's fairly quick and simple to cook. I've been out today, found a few items that were really good in price, so I've stuck those into the basket and I'll bring those home and you can have a look and see what I've got. So we're in the kitchen and I've unpacked a selection of the things that I bought today. We've got quite a variety here actually. Some of the more easy things and instant things would include the pasta in tomato sauce. It's a dried pasta with a sauce mix. Essentially you just add water to that, pop it in a pan, heat it up, and in a few minutes you've got quite a tasty meal. 29 pence for 500 grams. If you wanted to, you could add other things to it. If you like meat with your food, you could go back to your stocks of tinned foods and slice up some spam or perhaps some hot dog sausages and have it with that. On a similar vein, we've got the chicken flavoured instant noodles. Extremely cheap, these, at 14 pence a packet. 14 pence for a meal. Again, just add water, boil in a pan, and in a few minutes you've got quite a hearty meal. Sticking with the instant stuff, we've got tinned chicken soup. This was 29 pence per can. If you wanted to get exotic with this, you could use this as a base for other ingredients such as pasta. I'll come to that in a second. But open the can, you can have it either as it is, cold, if you don't have access to a fire, or as you would usually do, heat it up in a pan and you've got a meal. The real exciting stuff that I got today is the dried foods. We've got a selection of dried foods on the counter here. Since I've kind of touched on it already, we've got some dried pasta, tube variety. This pack of 500 grams was 29 pence. So at 75 grams per serving, you've got 7 servings or 7 meals out of this one packet. That equates to something like 4 pence per serving. So you can have that with a variety of things. You could have it in a traditional way with some tomato sauce. I picked up some cartons of concentrated tomato. Good shelf life on these. This lasts until 2021. And this was 35 pence for 500 grams. Depending on how many of you there are, you can either divide it in two and have 2 servings out of it, or bang it all in a pan if you've got a family to feed. And you've got tomato sauce there concentrated with your pasta. If you wanted to, you could add some canned goods out of your store. Chopped tomatoes here. I think when I bought these there was something like 16p a can, but prices are going up, and I'll touch on that a little bit later in this video. So you can have tomato variety. Again, you can add meat to that or just have it as it is. Either way, it's a hearty meal. Next on the list, one of my favourites, we've got some rice. You might have seen this in the previous video. Different shop, but oddly enough, exact same price. Today, 45p for 1 kilo of rice. So your 1 kilo bag, if you work on kind of 75 grams per person or per portion, that will give you 13 meals at 4p per serving. Again, with your rice, you can add that with your canned goods. You could add your dried beans and make a chilli. You could add some sauce to that. I've got a selection of different things. And again, for meat, you could stick in some spam, or you could stick in some hot dogs or other tinned meats to make a nice sustaining meal. Finally, on the dried goods, we've got some porridge oats. Again, a bit of a bargain this, 75p for this bag. You've got a kilo there for 75p. At 50 grams per person, that gives you 20 meals out of this packet. Again, as an average of about 4p per meal. It's actually less, but I'm rounding up. You simply add water to that to make your porridge, or if you're so inclined, you could add milk. Bear in mind that if something hits the fan, you might not have milk. That's one of the reasons why I always stock dried skimmed milk. This dried milk in these pre-packaged cartons, there's 340 grams in this. You need 60 grams to make up a pint of milk, so that means that this packet will make 5.5 pints of milk. Current price on these is £2 per pack, so that makes you pay a price of 36p per pint of milk once you add your water to it. But I have to be honest, if I'm having porridge, I would rather have milk than just water. Porridge is bland enough without resorting to mixing it with water, so I would always go for the milk to make my porridge. Again, you can add to that with stocks of food you might have already stored away. Dried fruits would be something nice to go with this, or perhaps some honey or some kind of syrup that you might have stored away. But porridge is a really good hearty meal. Get you started in the morning. It's full of proteins and calories, so I would always have some of this around. I've alluded a couple of times so far in this this video about pricing. You'd have seen in previous videos, certainly on my food storage videos, I have already lots of these in stock. I do just keep adding to them when I do my normal shopping, especially when I see a bargain in terms of price. But I just wanted to highlight this skimmed milk. I bought one of these. This is an old one that's going to go rotated fairly shortly. But I bought a new one today, a £2 a container. A year ago, you were paying about £1.30, £1.40 for these. So that's quite a significant rise in a year. But I also noticed today, in my long-term food stores, I do have lots of tins of meats and fishes. This is out of my store. It's a tin of sardines. There's a nice meal in there for somebody, either on its own, straight out the can, or warmed up on some bread. When I bought these a year ago, these were around between 35 and 45p per can. Today I noticed, exact same can, the design, the pattern on the tin has changed slightly, but the tin size is the same. These are now 80p per can. They've almost doubled in price in the space of a year. So if you did see my recent video, on potential food crisis 2019. Even without any kind of collapse of growing regions due to natural disasters like flooding or tornadoes or hurricanes or pests attacking the crops, whatever the disaster might be, even without that, food prices are definitely rising. So I would encourage you, especially while they're cheap, to get them banged away. You can never have enough of your dried foods. These things will sit quite happily on the shelf for literally years as they are. If you break them down into containers, you might have seen a previous video I did on long-term food storage. If you pop them into plastic buckets or mylar bags or even empty soda bottles, oxygen absorbers in there, they will last for years and years and years. So basic message, get out there, have a look around the shops, find your bargains, get them while they're cheap, because as I've already mentioned, food prices are definitely increasing, and it only takes one small crisis somewhere in the world, like the floods in America right now, to disrupt the growing cycle. Even if there isn't a big shortage because of the weather events, companies nowadays don't hesitate to miss an opportunity to bang up the prices. So get them while they're cheap. I'm guessing that most preppers will already be very familiar with this dried pasta in a packet, but for those of you who might not be, I thought it might be worth doing a quick video. It is very quick, literally. All you need is a pan, a pasta, rip the packet open, pop it in the pan. You then need 400 ml of water, or in this particular packet you do. Drop that in the pan, give it a quick stir with a trusty fork, and pop it onto the heat. I'm doing this in the kitchen obviously, but it's something that you could easily do outdoors on a campfire. Doesn't look too bad, does it? Plenty of sauce mix and herbs in there. So pop that in there and just literally bring it to the boil. It's going to take you, I don't know, 5 minutes tops, I would have thought, 6 minutes. Once it's actually boiled, 5 or 6 minutes of stirring, and it'll be ready. But we'll see. Okay, so that's been in there for 6 minutes, just slightly coming over 6 minutes. Give it a little stir. You do have to keep stirring this while it's cooking to make sure it doesn't stick to the bottom, but you can see that that now has reduced very nicely. So I think we'll pop that into the dish because that's ready. We'll just drop that in there. So there we go. And we'll bring that across to the other counter. Some of you might remember this from a video I did earlier in the week. So this will be very nice to go with our pasta. Pop that to one side. And there we go. We've got our tomato and basil pasta with some lovely fresh bread. How nice is that? Very cheap, very quick, very easy. Well, that's it for this video. I hope that you found something in there that was of use to you. If you did like the video, then please do click on the like button. Also, feel free to hit the subscribe button if you haven't already done so. As always, I welcome anybody's comments, questions or suggestions. Just leave them in the comment section below, and if you do ask a question, I'll do my very best to answer it for you. For now, thanks for watching. I look forward to seeing you in the next video.